A very good afternoon to each one of you who has taken out the time to be part of this webinar, Digital 3.0 Enabling Continuity in Times of Change. Although I see audiences still joining in, I hope everyone is keeping well and staying safe. We at Kelton, we are doing well, keeping safe and still continuing to work from home. So I shall wait for a moment or two till the attendees join in so that we can officially begin the webinar for today. All right. So now that most of the audience has joined in, it's a short run of introduction about myself. My name is Barbie, and I'm a part of Kelton Tech's family and will be the moderator for the afternoon today. Before we get started, I need to go over a little bit of housekeeping here. Should you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A section of your control panel, and we will address them at the end of the webinar for 10-15 minutes. Just in case we do not have the time to respond to your questions live, we will respond to them via email. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. For those of you who have opted in to receive a link of the recording and the presentation, we will be sending them out to you in the next couple of days. So before we actually get started with the webinar today, I would like to spend some time talking about Kelton Tech. So Kelton Tech has been a pioneer of digital transformation for the past decade, with operations in Asia Pacific, North America, and Europe. Our clients range from startups to Fortune 500 companies with a core strength supported through our ISO 9001 certification and CMI level 5 compliance. We are a family of 1500 plus and is a publicly traded company. Our digital services cross majorly on the digital transformation side. So we are a leader in the ISMAC stack, which is primarily IoT, social, mobility, analytics, and cloud. And also on the space of delivering solutions that help industries continually evolve, transform customer experiences, and capture new opportunities for value creation. So I think there would be a lot of people who have joined in this webinar for the first time. However, there was this webinar which was conducted during our last month, and people were not a part of the last webinar, Digital 3.0, the essential lifeline for business continuity, wherein we talked about the emerging role of digital technologies as saviors to help businesses reinvent and survive these times. Following the session, we received a volley of questions where people asked about how to define their digital transformation strategy. So today's webinar is an effort to answer the same question, along with many others, of course, that can help you progress on your digital journey. So this session basically covers 4 major pointers: the impact of COVID-19 on the global business landscape, of digital as a combative force against disruption, the approach behind leveraging the crisis to build resilience, the checklist for successful digital transformation for rapid recovery. So in continuation to that, I have with me our panelists for the day, Mr. Amit Grover and Mrs. Leher Rajmani, and a round of introduction for them as well. Mr. Amit Grover is a seasoned IT professional with a high degree of experience in defining growth-ready digital transformation for global customers of all sizes. Being well-versed in concepts around digital and market dynamics, Amit has served several customers drive innovation and scale competitively with a user-driven focus. Leher excels in delivering enterprise-grade solutions for a diverse range of business requirements and uses the best solution approaches to empower clients with cost and efficiency benefits. As an adept digital transformation specialist, she provides techno-functional inputs to various initiatives involving legacy to conventional systems. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I officially begin the webinar session for today. Over to you, Amit and Leher. Please feel free to proceed.
Thank you, Barbie. Thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amit Grover. The COVID-19 pandemic has destabilized the global economy, with every sector aggressively pushing hard to survive. Those in the leadership role are facing the immediate need of migrating to the digital technologies and reimagining everything. However, as tension mounts, it is easier to stumble to panic and get lost in the process. So this webinar is, will provides the insights to the business leaders, those who have joined in, on how they can create a digital transformation strategy. That was a question which was asked to us after our previous webinar. And this digital transformation strategy that can enable the continuity in these unstable times. And the session will also focus on helping policymakers identify the right plan of action that can help their chances of staying relevant. And since stay-at-home orders have been, either eased out or rolled back in several parts of the country and the world, this webinar also aims to help leaders draw up a lockdown exit strategy and move from surviving to thriving. So the first, thing that we need to talk about is what is the impact of COVID-19?
Thank you, Amit. So talking about impact of COVID-19, we have seen some negative impacts as well as some positive impacts coming up. So if we talk about huge increase in the demand of online content, closing of outside entertainment system has resulted in demand of OTT platforms. Many movies are getting released directly on these platforms. As a resultant, we have seen 80% rise in the subscription and 50% rise in the average time spent by people on these OTT platforms. Majority of classes and officers meeting are happening online. Platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx seeing a huge demand. Google Classroom users has doubled of over more than 100 million users. Google Meet video conferencing app is being used 25 times as much as that was in January. More than 50 million students in India are benefited and getting access to classes without moving out of their homes. This is the rise of new normal. So if we speak of rise of new normal, industries like F&B, BFSI, groceries are moving online. They aim to maintain sales while ensuring social distancing. Online ordering have risen up above 300% of an average, and order size of average 200%. At the same time, we do have some downsides of this pandemic. We have seen huge number of layoffs. Sectors like travel, real estate, auto is seeing more than 50% of layoffs in workforces.
And I think these are the most impacted sectors, and that is why the huge layoff as well.
Very true. Auto sectors, again, an impacted sector is expected to lose about 2 to 3 million jobs. Retail sector will have a loss of about 14 million jobs, which is about 50% and 20 to 30% respectively in auto and retail sectors. Then we have,
and this is an that is an interesting fact that, in the month of April, not even a single vehicle was sold, which never happened in the history of automobile.
Right. Moving ahead, then we have seen huge dip in customer retail demand. And then sectors like auto and BFSI are seeing huge dip in demand. So as Amit just mentioned, we have not seen even a single order coming in April, which has also impacted revenue by 50 to 70%. Then there are major impacts on startups as well. Major startups are either closing down or pivoting their businesses. Startups like Oyo, Ola, Uran have seen huge drops in revenue, which is leading to thousands of job losses. Technology players are ruling in transition. Applications like Swiggy and Zomato are delivering groceries now. Cult is giving online gym classes. So that's how a transition of positive and negative is coming up in this pandemic environment.
Yeah, so exactly. There is a huge impact in every sector, and there is an importance of a business continuity. So there has to be a plan of business continuity, how to make sure that in the current situation, businesses are getting continued. And how when we talk about the business continuity, what are the factors? There is a greater focus on the cost now, because as they deal with an evolving and uncertain economic climate, then there is also an increased need of scale and velocity, you need to come out, very quickly, particularly by migrating the businesses and operations to the digital channels. When we say digital channel, there are multiple. It could be a website, it could be a mobile app. So there are multiple channels which needs to be come out. There is also a surge in the demand for digital products and services to basically replace the brick and mortar and in-person touch points. So you see that people who were in the brick and mortar model are quickly getting onto the digital bandwagon to transform their product and services in the digital format. There is also accelerated adoption of digital technologies, specifically in the areas of collaboration, as Leher talked about, like Zoom, Google Meet, Google Hangout, and all that stuff. Similarly, in the supply chain, in the commerce space, cloud adoption has risen up, and there are others as well where the adoption has been accelerated. The organizational efforts and initiatives to boost the resilience and use of the current learnings to prepare for the future disruption. So these are some of the measures which organizations are taking to ensure the business continuity.
Right.
So, and then, yeah, go ahead there. Sorry.
Based on this only, we also feel that while business continuity is important, we have to understand the type of organization we are right now. So all of you, all business leaders attending this webinar, can relate yourself to the type of digital maturity level we have categorized. Next slide, please. So we'll take you through the stage of the digital journey you are at, and also the category of digital maturity of the organization. First kind is digital resistor, where digital initiatives are disconnected and poorly aligned with enterprise strategy. There are no focused approach on the customer experience. These kind of organization falls in the category of digital resistor. Then comes digital explorer. Business has identified a need to develop digitally enhanced customer-driven business strategy. So that's how you become explorer, but the execution plan is still on project basis. Digital players, which provides consistent products and services. So business IT goals are aligned with the enterprise level around the creation of digital products, but at the same time, not much of the focus is put on the disruptive potential of digital initiatives. Then we have digital transformers. These kind of organizations are usually market leaders. We have those have integrated and synergetic business IT management discipline, which delivers digitally enabled product services experience on a continuous basis, making sure that the customers are engaged with an end-to-end journey on every product and services. Then we have last category, which is digital disruptor. These are the organizations which are aggressively disrupting the use of new digital technology, new age technologies like IoT, ML, or state-of-the-art AI, ML coming up along with cloud to model their business. These ecosystem awareness is there, and constant feedback from business and customers are coming in. So these are the categories wherein we have identified an organization can fall in based on their digital journey.
And irrespective of the maturity level that you are in, whether you are a resistor or an explorer or a player or a transformer or a disruptor, there is always opportunity for you to evolve. And that is what the beauty of digital is, that in the ever evolving world, everyone has an opportunity to evolve. And plus, if you are a digital resistor and an age-old organization, you have the benefit of what has happened in the past. So you can quickly jump onto the, let's say, digital 3.0 rather than going from digital 1 to digital 1.5 to digital 2. You have now opportunity to, transform yourself directly to the latest version rather than going step by step.
Right. And also, people who are still on the old technologies, we have seen they are SMEs in their own domain. So that's how the business very well. Now, as Amit suggested, it's only the digital journey which you have to roll on.
Right. And when we talk about the technology, it is basically till now we have understood that technology is an accelerator to the businesses that you are in. But at the same time, digital has that power which can, give birth to new models as well, which typically, the fifth category, that is digital disruptors, are actually doing. They are challenging the status quo. They are coming up with the new business models, and also, bringing the enterprises or the other digital, other organizations to think about that, how they can, think about digital, how they can leverage the digital technology. strategies. So what we are going to talk about is a strategy that you can follow in your respective zone, irrespective of the maturity level that you are in, which can help you define your digital strategy. So this is a disruptive approach as we believe in, and we have seen, this strategy is working for a lot of organizations. So how do we start on this journey? So whenever we are thinking about a digital strategy, putting in a digital strategy and coming up with a execution plan, the first and foremost thing that you need to think about your customers, because everything that we are doing is doing for for our customer. And when we say customer, it is not only the external customer that we are talking about. We are talking about the internal customers as well, because both the customers are important for making sure that your business is successful. So it is not only the experience of the external customer, but experience of the internal customer also matters. And when you talk about your customer, what you think about is your customer segmentation, means from where your customer is coming, right? And what is the kind of journey that they are taking in order to connect with you. So it could be your customer may be lying in tier 1 city, maybe lying in tier 2 city, maybe lying in tier 3 city, or your internal employees maybe have specific background, have specific education, have specific demographics that they are coming up with. So it is important to understand your customer and do the proper profiling of your customer. If you will know your customer, then only you will be able to serve your customer. On the other side, it is important to understand the business strategy. Means, what is your vision? What is your mission? What are your values that you live up to? And accordingly, when those things combine together, that is when you think about that how my digital strategy should be, so that in line with my vision, mission, and values, I can benefit my customer. I can bring benefits to my customer. And when you think about your digital strategy, so there could be multiple things that falls under the digital strategy, and in order to come up with a digital business model, you think about there could be specific asks. When we talk about a mission statements, you may need to increase your global presence, you may need to increase your operational efficiency, you may need to increase your employee engagement, you may need to there could be certain goals that you may have in mind with respect to which aligns with the mission statement that you have. So one could be that you want to give an omni-channel experience to your customers, that irrespective of the channel that they come up to, whether it is a mobile application, a website, a kiosk, or they reach out to your offices, or they talk to the call center people through a phone call, how can you give a similar experience across channels? So that could be one strategy or a business model. Then when you do the profiling of the customer, you understand the past behavior, so you are able to unlock the behavior of your customer with the help of the data that you have. You also come up with new business models that the business model which may never have been thought about.
Right.
You also come up with a customer experience, that how the experience of my customer should be. Means we talked about the journey of the customer. Now what kind of experience do you want to give him? If it is a tier 3 customer, he may not be that educated, so you may not need to have some sort of vulnerable application, application which has vernacular capabilities as well. How your customer is, what kind of applications are being used by your customer. So similarly, you try to find out that what is the ideal experience for your customer. Right. And then you also, try to figure out how you can increase the operational efficiency or employee engagement.
Right. There are a lot of factors on which, like Amit said, the customers can be segmented and identified. Obviously, it depends on the type of geography, the segment you are targeting, the kind of product or service which you are providing to the customer. So all those factors has to be considered along with your business rules, business engines, which has to be run in order to leverage your business USP.
Right. So once you have the right digital strategy and you would come up with your digital business model, that is what leads to a digital reference architecture, which is the most important outcome of this exercise, and is beneficial for you taking a moving on from strategy to execution. So when we talk about a digital reference architecture, what your digital reference architecture is basically a layered architecture which help you identify various elements in the overall ecosystem of any organization. It is not specific to a particular organization. Is it it is as much applicable to a banking or a BFSI company as it is for a retail company or for a education company or for a, you know, FMCG company. So it is equally applicable for everyone. So how do you define your digital reference architecture is first and foremost, as I stated, is the customer, both internal and external. So you need to identify who are your customers. Just list down all the customers that you have. It could be your end customer, it could be your, you know, agent, it could be your finance guy, it could be your HR guy, whomsoever you want to give your digital, in whichever module you want to bring in the digital transformation.
Right.
So you
Along
need to identify all the customers.
along comes the operational guys as well of
Yes,
your
yes,
organization.
yes. So everyone, when we are thinking about digital transformation organization wide, then obviously we can think about all the customers across board, both internal and external. If we are thinking about bringing in the transformation in a particular segment with a particular mission, then we may identify the customers in that particular area. So this digital reference architecture can be as huge as for the entire organization, or it can also be made applicable for a particular set of the organization or a particular, department of an organization. The next point is to identify how do these customers, interact with you. Means it could be, if we are talking about an external customer, he may be reaching out to you through an internet, through phone call, through SMS. If it is an internal customer, he may be reaching out to you through an intranet portal. So there could be multiple mechanisms through which he is interacting with you, the channels. And then there are system of engagement. Like if there could be a website that you have through which your customers are interacting with you. There could be a mobile application. There could be a kiosk. There could be SMS or WhatsApp these days. That you also have some sort of chatbot applications where your customer are interacting with bots. Then you have social channels as well. You have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Twitter, through which you are interacting with your customers. Then you also have email. You also have, wearables, you have call centers. So there are n number of system of engagements that you have for your customers to get in touch with you. And then comes the business layer. When we talk about the business layer, this is what is very specific to an organization, right? You have your own business logics. You have your own business rules. You have your own workflows. How do you want to manage your, customer? What is the workflow of a customer? When we talked about a particular journey of your customer, so it is basically a workflow which needs to be transformed, right? Then you have different types of reports, dashboard, analytics, on the basis of which you take different informed decisions. Now, these reports may come from a tool that you have opted for, or these could be custom reports as well. And then there are different type of tasks which comes out of as part of your business. And then this is the upper half of your digital reference architecture. And then there is a lower half of the digital reference architecture. The middle layer is your integration layer. The integration layer is one of the most important aspect when you're talking about the digital transformation. And as the size of the organization grows, the importance of the integration layer also grows. Because when the size of the organization is growing, the number of systems, the number of nodes to talk to interact to also increases. Because as you grow, you adopt multiple application, you adopt different type of systems, you adopt different type of application on cloud, on, on-prem. There could be n number of systems that you're bringing in due to n number of regions. So as the number of system grows, the importance of the integration layer also grows. So when you are very small, you may have a custom integration layer, right? There is two applications who are interacting with each other with the help of APIs or some sort of interface. But when you grow a bit, you may look for a proper integration bus. There are a lot of
ESBs come into picture.
And when you grow to a certain access, that is when your ESBs, enterprise grade service bus, come into picture. You must have heard about MuleSoft, Software AG, IBM Informatica. There are huge lists, and they provide a lot of capabilities. It is not only about integration. The capability that an integration layer provides is not only about connecting different systems. It also provides a lot of insights. It also provides a lot of capabilities which can help you, manage the load that you are getting with the help of all the system of engagements. And then they have the system of records. System of records are basically the applications which does all the heavy lifting. It could be your ERP system. It could be your, customer relationship management system. It's your data warehouse system, your digital asset management system, your content management system, your document management system, where you store all the data. It could be your knowledge base as well, your complete knowledge base in terms of what you have learned over a period of time. It could also have your complete employee database, like you have some sort of intranet application which holds the entire detail about all the projects that you have executed, or all the if you are a product company, all the products that you are selling. If you are FMCG company, SKU of all the products that you are selling. So this is basically the system of records where all that information, the proprietary information for your organization is stored. And then how all these elements, all these aspects are basically hosted. Now you may have certain applications which are hosted on cloud. So means there could be organization to organization. It could also change. Some of the organization, for example, if we talk about disruptors, they may be completely on cloud. But there, when you talk about a big enterprises, they may have some sort of hybrid strategy where some of the information is stored on the on-prem, data centers, and rest of the information is on cloud. Or it could be completely on-prem and you're just thinking about moving to cloud for some of the application. There could also be virtualization. There are data storages that you need to maintain. There are sometimes the obligations as well, that you need to store the data of, let's say, last 3 years, last 6 years, last 10 years. So all these are related to the infrastructure.
It also depends on the type of organization.
Right.
There might be compliances and, as you said, obligations to store data either on-prem. So there are few legacy systems which are still working on on-prem hosting environment, and there are few compliances to not to save data on cloud. So that's how your strategy will be decided.
Right. So thinking through all these layers is basically when you come up with the digital reference architecture. And as I stated, this is not specific to a particular industry. We will also give you a couple of examples just for your reference, that how does it look like for some of the industries. But it is equally applicable for any other industry, means any industry that you are representing. So let's say, for example, if there is any of our friend who is from the NBFC industry, so how should it look like for an NBFC industry? And then again, in the NBFC industry as well, it can change from one organization to another organization, because you may have some certain specific set of vision, mission, customer that you are trying to target. So like, what kind of customers do you have in the NBFC space? You have your end customer, you have your channel partners, you have your sales and marketing team, you have your credit managers, you have your operation team. What kind of engagement systems that you have? You have a website, you may have a mobile application or may not have a mobile application. Or even when you have a mobile application, you may have a mobile application for your customers separately, for your sales agents or your agents separately. Similarly, you will have a lending system, complete lending workflow. You may have a SMS or bot kind of thing through which your customers are interacting, or you may be, sending notification alerts to your customer for different type of things. You have a social channel, you have an email for grievance kind of things, or maybe some sort of inquiry kind of things as well. And then you also have an interface through which a customer can check his credit. On the business layer side, you will have a complete business rule engine, as I stated, workflow, reports, tasks, and then you have an integration layer. In the system of records, you will have a complete leads management system, all the leads that you are getting through different digital channels, digital or non-digital channels. You have a consolidated system where you're managing all your leads. Then you may have the complete customer KYC details, because it is mandatory for an NBFC organization to manage or maintain all the KYC documents. Then you have all the application details, all the customers who have requested for a loan, or a loan that they have applied for. You have the complete details about their application as well as the status of those applications. You have a complete document management system, and there could be integration with n number of third-party systems like Perfios or UIDAI or a payment gateway, SMS, email gateway, etc. And then infrastructure, as I stated, that can also vary. Means it could be purely cloud, it could be hybrid, it could be virtualization for the data storage as well. So this is how typically it looks like for an NBFC company. This is very naive, However, when you get specific to a particular organization, that can really blow up. And then if you look for another example, means some of the friends could be from a healthcare segment. So if you look at it from the healthcare side,
It can be for healthcare, it can be for insurance. I mean, the
right,
more as the digital customers fall in the same category. We deal with patients, doctors, care workers, nurses, aggregators, policy holders. We work with labs. So that's how the system will have the customers coming up. Again, the engagement model will be more or less on mobile, on web. Customers would like to have some mobile application wherein they can book a doctor's appointment. Nowadays, pandemic is coming in. I believe going to doctor itself is a very big challenge. Then some kiosk at the hospital to enable the social distancing. So you have to think in that kind of a sense. Then leveraging WhatsApp or SMS maybe for bookings. So that's how healthcare will be transforming. Then of course, wearable is something which anyways every health industry is targeting, along with insurance companies targeting. Then comes the business layer again, wherein you will have your business logics running in, your fraud logics running in. How do you connect which doctor to patient? How do you connect pharmacies to doctor? How do you connect labs to pharmacies? So all those logics can be written and documented in the business layer. Again, in integration layer, as Amit stated, it's very important layer for any of the workflow to interact with your system of records, with all the legacy systems or all the chunks of systems you have as a part of your system architecture. So booking appointments, coming off EMR data, patients data, patient engagement model, resource management, then integration to legacy system, all those comes as part of your system of records. And again, hosting is a choice of business, whether it's cloud, on-prem, virtual, or it can be hybrid, wherein some part is stored at your data center and some part moves to cloud for easy access to your customers. So nowadays, that's how the hybrid model is maintained. So again, for healthcare, and I think a lot of guys for insurance also can relate to the same.
Right. So irrespective of, as Leher also stated, irrespective of the industry that you belong to, irrespective of the digital maturity level that you are in, this is an important, starting point. This could be an important starting point for you to basically reflect on your digital maturity. Means you can identify that, what kind of digital customers that you have, which all type of customers have you covered, which all kind of applications that you have already built, or which other application you should have. So this basically is a true reflection of your digital maturity also, in terms of how, you have reached on your digital maturity. What has you already covered, or what is it that you need in times to come in order to transform yourself in the digital space.
And also how to retain your legacy systems or the chunks of system on which you are already working, whether it's CRM, CMS, legacy systems, booking system, but to create a new digital layer over the same to reach out your customers is something which you have to think of.
And, as we understand in the current situation in the coronavirus pandemic, this pandemic has radically changed work patterns across every sector. It is not specific to a particular sector, and it has exposed to the point of fragility. And leaders across board are not only seeking measures to navigate the current challenges, but they're also asking how to sustain the performance of their businesses. Exactly. So the answer lies in creating a cohesive long-term digital transformation strategy. And we hope that this webinar has been successful in answering all the tipping questions. But having said that, I will, pass on the baton to Barbie and let her open it for Q&A, so that if there is any other question that we can answer in the limited time that we have, we would love to do that.
Thank you so much, Amit and Leher. I think you've shared some key business-driven insights, and I'm sure there's a lot of great learnings that we can actually take back from this particular webinar. So while the discussion was going on, we had a couple of questions already coming in. I would be picking them up one by one. For the rest of the audience, if you have any questions, please type them in your control panel and we'll be picking them up one by one. So the first question that we have received is, what is the most important aspect or element in digital transformation? So this is something that probably Leher, you can help us out to answer.
Sure. So, Barbie, as we continuously stated, and we really believe the important aspect of any organization in the journey of digital transformation is customer, whether they are internal or external. Depending on the module which you are looking to transform, you have to gel and understand the customer behavior. And it is important to take customer into account when moving on to any initiative.
Yeah, and I would like to, second layer on this point, because customer is the key. Means everything that we are doing is doing for the customer. And as I, stated earlier as well, it is to consider both your internal and external customers. So the most important element in the entire transformation space is how your customer can be benefited from whatever you are doing.
Absolutely. So the next question that we have is more on the digital marketing side of it. It says that what are the important aspects to be considered when it comes to competitors over online marketing to stand out in the market? So although we are talking about digital transformation, probably Amit can shed a little bit of light in answering this question.
Okay, so can you come again, please? Sorry.
So basically it asks that what are the different aspects that an organization needs to undertake for their online marketing side of it to stand out in the market?
Okay, so as we can understand in the current scenario, when everything is shuttered, everything is locked down, digital. So one aspect is you are enabling digital. The next aspect is how you are reaching out to your customers, and digital marketing is an important measure through which you are reaching out to your customers. Now, when you're talking about digital marketing before and after this pandemic, your digital marketing strategy should also have a significant change. For example, means if we talk about us, we have been doing certain sort of activities in our digital marketing strategy, but now we have also changed our digital marketing strategy, because we believe that now digital marketing has a significant edge over the ATL activities, because that is the way when you can reach out to your customer one to one. Right. So obviously means you have to relook at your, it needs to be more focused in terms of whom you are targeting. What are the geos that you are targeting? What kind of services you are targeting? Are you utilizing all the channels that you have at your disposal, be it your website, be it your, the social media channels, be it different marketing mediums that you have. So like this webinar as well, this is also an important aspect to connect with all the wonderful people out there, all the customers who are interested in interacting with you.
I think again, it returns to the same point that you have to understand your customer.
Right.
Study your customer.
Absolutely. So the next question that we have is a pretty interesting one. And I guess, we would like to answer this question in a very broader term as to how you as in Kelton can help in building and executing digital reference architectures. So, and you're open to both of you. So basically it says that how can you help in building and executing digital reference architecture?
So see, it's been more than a decade that we have been working with our customers. When we started off, we were working with a lot of starters. So we have also learned over a period of time that how this digital reference architecture can come up for different customers. And having worked with a lot of enterprises, means we work with a lot of startups and the enterprises as well. When we move to the enterprises, as I stated that, as you move on to the size of the organization, the reference architecture is broadened. So how can we help is we over a period of time has created the entire process, a workshop kind of process, where we talk to the different stakeholders in an organization to come up with this kind of digital reference architecture. So while we talked about 6 layers, there have been cases where there could be a 7th or 8th layer as well, depending upon a customer to customer. And then once that is charted out, we are there with the reference architecture. We are also able to identify, means help our customer identify that, what are the aspects or what are the elements in the overall business model, in the overall digital reference architecture, which are missing. And plus, as we are evolving, what we were 5 years ago, we have matured as an industry, as an organization, as a community as well. So there are a lot of new things which has come up. Like WhatsApp was not as much popular as it was 2-3 years back. So so channels are increasing, the elements are increasing. So we also help identify and prioritize that what are the components that needs to be procured, needs to be taken off the shelf. What are the components which are readily available off the shelf and can be customized to their specific need, and what are the components which needs to be built entirely from scratch. So we have been doing it. Means when we are talking about the reference architecture, like for NBFC, like for healthcare, like for insurance, this is what we have done over a period of time. So we can work with any organization. That is the process that we have followed, and Leher has been very instrumental in executing such initiatives with different organizations to help them understand, reflect on themselves, and come up with that reference architecture.
It is a journey which is a study of your own business. Study it through and through, and then come up with a solution, come up with an enterprise architecture, which we call it as.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Right.
can not only be limited to customers, which will also be limited to your cross-cutting connections, which is coming up. So yeah, that's how it is.
But there is one question that I can see as well, and I would love to take that question, that what is the most common concern by the client these days to continue and scale up their business model?
Right.
So this is an interesting question, and yes, a lot of organizations, a lot of customers are facing the challenges and has been reaching out to us. One of the most tipping question is that how they can turn digital quickly, because a lot of customers do not have a digital presence. For example, you talk about some of the just an example like restaurants. Restaurants are not opening up. They only are allowing takeaways or deliveries. But there are a lot of restaurants, even very known restaurants, who are providing fantabulous dining experience, but they do not have any digital channel through which they can take the orders or they can provide the takeaways. Either they have to rely on the mercy of all these aggregators like Swiggy or Zomato, which takes their own sweet cut of 20-25%. But all these restaurants have their own, very loyal, very old customers who are connected to them, but they are not able to serve them. And even their customers are also missing the delicacies. So this is one of the most tipping problem that they are facing in terms of how they can connect with their consumer, how they can basically help their consumer to, enjoy the services that they have been enjoying for quite some time.
Right. I think this was the last question that we had. I'm sorry, my internet just got a little fluctuated. So Amit and Leher, thank you so much. Unfortunately, this is all the time that I think we would have right now for the questions. For those questions that could not be answered in this session, we'll make sure that we will get them answered over an email. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we will be sending out the recorded version of this webinar in the next few days. Also, if any one of you who is interested in building this digital reference architecture, if you want any kind of digital transformation help from ours, we would be happy to get in touch with you one-on-one, discuss about your requirements, and accordingly take it forward. You can get in touch with us on the contact information, which is on the slide. You can drop us an email or give us a call on the numbers, and we'll be able to cater to your requirements and take it forward from here. Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you and stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.